you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's Kornelia here, and we have our stories of hope today. It's Friday. I hope that all of you that are listening to this podcast are getting ready for a wonderful weekend, a relaxing weekend, and a nurturing weekend. I want to introduce you to our first guest, Rachel Fowler. She's a storyteller, and she's joining us today from Athens, Greece, which is fabulous. I think this is the first time we have somebody that is in Greece that's joining us. I just love how it works with the internet, that we can talk to people from around the world and meet in this format. So I'm so grateful for that. Rachel Fowler, whether an actor, a director, a writer, or a coach, she celebrates human stories and the power they have to heal. She is able to help reveal hidden truths and to transform. She's passionate about making the world more grief literate and more compassionate, both towards ourselves and each other. We need that so much. Rachel Fowler, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So, my goodness, making the world more grief literate, that is a big statement. And is that also how you got into this line of work or this mission or passion that you have right now?
Yeah, it's through my own personal experience with grief. My father died 13 years ago, and my nephew, who was 13, died almost 9 years ago in 2016. And my experience with those two things were really interesting. You know, the thing that has made me really wanting to hold space for other people and wanting to teach people how to hold space for others were instances where, for instance, a person that I knew made eye contact with me and crossed the street to avoid talking to me shortly after my nephew died. Or the person who asked me how my father was doing, and I said, well, actually, he died, and I started to get really emotional, and they literally physically recoiled from me, making me kind of like shut things down. And during COVID, when the world was really grieving, right, and not being able to do all of those rituals that we have around death, around endings, and grieving the lack of normalcy, you know, that things were changing so much, I was like, gosh, you know, I just think that I think we need to learn how to sit with this a little bit better. And from my own experience, I've really, really gotten the gift of that, the gift of sitting with someone who's really, really struggling and witnessing what they're going through. And I was like, finally, I'm middle-aged and I figured out what I need to do with my life.
Good. Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah. I love everything that you're talking about because there's such a need for it. It's such a need for it because normally when somebody is grieving and they're in the process of, dealing with their loss of a loved one, most of the time people don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They don't know how they should approach it. So I think educating people, making it more normal on, saying, I'm sorry that you lost your husband. I can't even imagine what that's like right now for you at this state, whatever it might be, right? But to be there and open it up for the person, right? That needs to hear that compassion. when you were talking about COVID, also the grief with COVID, it was also the isolation, like we can't see each other. So also that it's like being disconnected, 6 feet apart and that whole thing, and not being able to be around each other, no hugs, no. I totally understand not being able to do the rituals, not being able to go see our loved ones. There was a lot of grief that was withheld there.
A lot. One of my first clients as a grief coach was a woman who lost her father during COVID, and she couldn't see him. She couldn't be in the same room with him. He was diagnosed with um, stage 4 some cancer and died very, very quickly. And she was like, the fact that I can't be in the room with him, I can't hold his hand, I can't say in his ear all of the things that I need and want to say, was traumatic. And I know
Totally.
that she wasn't alone. There were so many people who went through the same thing, and so
Yeah.
many people dying alone too,
Yeah.
which, really, so
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the making grief normal idea, because even I had the idea once that we should have t-shirts that say, I'm grieving. So that when you are grieving, you put that t-shirt on. And when you're going to the store, you're running your errands or whatever, you don't have to put on a nice face. You just wear your
Yeah.
t-shirt that says, I'm grieving. And basically, I'm not smiling. I'm not happy about it. I'm in my grief. And that's where I am.
Yeah. We used to do this. We used to wear black for a year.
Right? Yeah,
Wear
that's
a
true.
black band, which basically was just a sign to say, I know that your life has gone on and maybe you don't remember, but I'm in a tender spot, because it's
That's
just a
such a,
reminder to other people that you're still reeling.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great t-shirt. I'm in a tender spot.
Mm,
I'm in a tender spot, and then maybe underneath it, I'm grieving. Or I'm in the tender spot on the front, and then in the back, I'm grieving. Uh,
I like I
yeah,
like that.
I think, nowadays with so much change that we're all having to go through, so much loss, it doesn't matter. There's all kinds of losses. We could sit here and make a list that would probably we could come up with all kinds of things, um,
Yeah.
things that we have to grieve. But grieving is part of our humanity, and it is also, I think, we talked about it briefly in the green room, not in the grief room. Ooh, there's an idea.
Yeah.
um, that there is, it's not to be ignored. It's not to
No,
be.
it's inevitable.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that that's the thing, right? Is because you also mentioned in the green room, grief room, you were like, why is it that we try to like shun it? Why is it we try to sort of push it away when it really is part of our humanity? Like you said, it's part of our human experience here on Earth. Um, why not embrace it? Why not turn towards it? And I mean, for me personally, I think that a lot of it has to do with how we've medicalized death. So it's become a very separate thing, and it's also the way that modern medicine is, which is amazing. There's so many things that are saving lives, et cetera, but it's sort of prolonging life at all cost, as opposed to also thinking about, I'm prolonging your life, but am I giving you quality time? Right. And I don't think we necessarily consider that. There's a beautiful book by Atul Gawande, who is, you probably have read it, called Being Mortal. He is a surgeon. I believe he lives in Pennsylvania somewhere. And he talks about the need for doctors to be really clear with their patients, because when a doctor says, this will buy you more time, and the doctor is like, I'm going to give you 3 months, but you're going to be in pain, et cetera, et cetera. What the patient hears is, I'm going to have 5 more years.
Mhm.
Right. So being really, really clear so that a person can make an informed decision about how they want to spend their end days. Um, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
How do you want to spend your end days? And even yesterday in my journal, um, I was writing in my journal is that if today was the last day, how would I want to spend it? If today
Mm,
was the last day. So it doesn't matter because it nowadays we know that, death can happen at any point in time. If this was your last day, you mentioned it briefly. It's not about quantity, it's about quantity, right? And
yeah.
so how do we want to spend our life? What do we want to, what's important to us? Are we living our values? Are we connecting with other people? Are we doing what brings us joy? And when you ask yourself the question, if today was the last day, like I had heard somebody say that. This is nothing new, but I heard somebody say that they asked themselves that question at the end of the day. And I thought to myself, that would be a good thing to ask at the beginning of the day before you start doing, right?
Yeah. Before you go to, not before you go to sleep, but before you get going,
Right.
right?
And because what are the things you're going to do today? Like all of a sudden you'll see, oh, that was frivolous. I'm not going to spend my time over there doing that. No, I'm not going to do that because if today was it, I will be doing this and to really bring us forth into it. And I'm sure that even if it was our last day, there would even be time to grieve.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So good.
Most definitely.
I want to
Most
tell the
definitely.
audience how they can look you up, how they can find you, how they can follow you on social media. Do you have a website for us?
I do. It's rachelfowlergriefcoach.com. And you can find me on Instagram as Ray Beagle, Raye, Beagle like the dog. And I talk a lot about story, grief. I'm a filmmaker as well as a grief coach, and use that as a medium to start conversations. Yeah.
Good. I love that. I want to possibly have you come on for a longer podcast where we can go dive a little deeper into the grief. What does it look like? Would that be all right with you?
That would be amazing. I would love that. I would
Okay.
love that.
Awesome. Well, I'll have our team get in contact with you and then we'll set it up. Now, what does it look like for somebody who is in the process of, grieving? Like what does it look like for someone to possibly get a session with you in 1 minute?
Yeah. So first session is always free because it's a chance for you to see how I work. I typically use a lot of creativity because I find it's the best way to make that journey from here to here, which is the longest journey that you will ever take. And when you're grieving, it can be very, very comfortable to sit up here and to have a lot of feelings about your feelings. But really, what I want you to do is to let that go, let the rumination go, and just allow yourself to be present with whatever is coming up for you and experience it and let your body fully embrace it. Because the only way through this metamorphosis of grief is to actually go through it. And you can't go through it up here. You have to go through it here.
Yeah. Beautiful,
Yeah.
Rachel. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely to meet you. And I look forward to a more in-depth conversation with you.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful time in Greece. And we're going to take a break, everyone. And we're going to see you in a few minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is Waterfall Adams. She's a creative professional who took her destiny in her own hands. Her real name is Veronica Elizabeth Adams, and she was born in Putucah, Kentucky, and was raised in Mobile, Alabama. She has an associate of science general education degree from Bishop State Community College and a bachelor's of the arts degree in art history with dramatic arts minor from the University of South Alabama. And I can tell you she's also an author. So welcome to the show today, Waterfall Adams.
Thank you. And the correction for my birthplace is Paducah.
Paducah. What did I say?
Okay.
I thought I said.
Paducah?
Oh, okay. I got you. Paducah. Okay. So welcome to the show. So what is it that got you started in your, creative expression? What was the call that's the way that you wanted to go?
Well, I always did want a career in the arts, and also I had trouble trying to find a job after I graduated from University of South Alabama. So I did also look into other options before I graduate, like self-employment and freelancing on some of the things I could do, like an alternative, And there's some, like for example, like these books right here, as you can see, some of them I did like spoken word poetry when I was at South, and some I kind of like wrote over the years to kind of fill the books out.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things I can do with my degree is like be a writer.
Right. Okay. So I bet there a lot of people felt like if they were going in that direction, that they ended up not being able to know what can they do with their degrees. How can they get paid? How can they do that? And it sounds like you took, like it said in your bio, destiny in your own hands, and you decided to go in the direction that you did.
Yes, it's just that like the job market is not like it was in like previous generations, and what I was taught in at a class called the job campaign, and it's not like it was like I have a sister, we're both 2 years and 10 days apart. She's 2 years and 10 days older. Well, she's born November 6th, so I was born November 16th. It wasn't like it was when she got her first job when she was like in high school. It's not like it was like my parents. They're both boomers, as in baby boomers. Not like it was when they were getting their first job. And I have a stepmother who's from like Gen X, and not like it was either at all.
Yeah. So, and then on top of it, you have student debt also.
Yep, got that too.
Got that too, right? Which makes it really difficult. So,
Yeah, but
yeah.
hey, at least I the university I went to is a public like university, not like a private one like Ivy League or some HBCUs. They the private ones like cost more.
Hmm. Yeah. So, how are you earning your money now? Like, what is it that you're doing now with the your creative expression? What is it that you're doing now to um, bring income in?
Well, I get paid to take surveys. I do micro tasks. I beta read. I review books. I uh, write books, as you can see. I'm doing these interviews here, like get the word out more about my literary works. I'm also looking at doing other things. I am working on my third book and researching for more.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, you're definitely being creative with what you can do with your skill sets, your writing and your art. So, what are the names of your books currently right now, and how can people get those books?
Well, this is my debut book. It came out on February 2021 called The Eclectic Mind of V. And this is the second book that came out in the summer of 2022, free to BZ. As you see, these are the paperback versions. There's also ebook book versions, and I'm trying to get the audiobook versions together. They are available on Amazon and other outlets. If they're not on there, I will try to get them on there. And I'm trying to get the audiobook versions together. I'm trying to learn how to do that.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think the audio that's also going to be a good piece for you.
Yeah, even though it came like audiobooks has been around since the 1930s, and the technology has evolved since then, and also with ACX's guidelines, it has to be an actual human being to do the voice.
Yes. Yeah, it has to be a human being to do the voice. That's for sure. Definitely not an AI. That's also. So, did you want to, like you already gave us the information on how people can find these books on Amazon, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And what are your social media handles? What is it where people can look you up and find you on social media?
Okay, I might send some links. Like November, like my Facebook and Instagram pages were hacked, so they're like new handles now.
Okay.
Okay, like with my Facebook, I am on, it's like Veronica Adams. There's like a picture of me of curly hair and a green background. And there's Twitter, now known as X, Tumblr, Reddit, and Pinterest. They both have the same handle, which is lowercase letters VAVONNI159. TikTok is Waterfall Adams 86. Instagram is VEE. There's all lowercase letters. VEE Waterfall Adams. I'm on YouTube, which is Waterfall VEE. I'm on LinkedIn. There's plenty of people with my full government name. I'm the one with the braids and the purple makeup on.
Okay. Okay. Well, what is it that you want to leave our audience with today before we close out this segment? What would you like to say to everyone?
Give credit where it's due or they sue.
Do what? Give credit what?
Where it's due or they will sue.
Give credit where it's due or they will sue.
Yes.
Okay, that's what you want to say to everybody. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Waterfall Adams, for coming on the show today. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Our next guest is the creator host of Watch Us Thrive podcast, personal development podcast, where she talks about mental health, healing from trauma that keeps us stuck in shitty relationships, and how we can connect with our inner magic. She's also a domestic violence survivor and advocate, and that was the reason that she first started her podcast, to share her story of escaping her abusive ex. It has turned into a beautiful platform where guests come on to share their stories of overcoming obstacles by turning their pain into purpose and share their inspiration for the world audience. Leanne Torres, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, it's just perfect timing.
Perfect timing, yes.
Oh my God. It's so funny. The other day I went to get my hair done and I was, saying to my hairdresser, did you see, the news, right? And she didn't. I'm like, what is wrong with you? How could you? Are you living underneath a rock? Everybody knows, including my mother would know what's going on.
Yeah.
So is that the reason why you went into the direction that you did in your life? Is that what started it, was domestic, that you were in a toxic relationship?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was in a abusive relationship during the pandemic, and we know how shitty the world was then. But, to be in a really dysfunctional relationship during that time was something that I did not expect. It's not something that I planned for it to happen. But, I found someone who was really good at pretending to be someone that he wasn't. And he could only pretend to be that facade for so long. And towards the end of the relationship, although it was very short-lived, we were only together for 10 months, but it felt like a decade being with this person. Towards the end is when it got physically abusive, but that's not how it started. And, going through that, I share my full story on my podcast that anyone wants to listen to in great detail. But going through that and surviving through it, more importantly, that was really the drive for me to create a space where I can talk about this openly and honestly, because so many women, and I know men experience this too, but predominantly women are victims of this. We need to put it in the forefront. We need to put it out there for people to see, to know that they're not alone when they're going through it. So that's what I stand on today.
Yeah. I mean, that's so huge. Do you think that because you said it happened during the pandemic, thank God you were only in there for 10 months.
Yeah.
And then you created this platform where you can speak about it. And really, when we're journaling, when we're speaking about the things that are wrong, then we can heal. We can begin to heal, right? So do you think, how when the pandemic happened, how we were just basically forced to stay in our homes? Is that what did it?
Yeah, absolutely. Even on top of that layer, we were all forced to just be in our spaces. But on top of that, no one knew what I was going through when I was in that relationship. I never wanted to introduce my ex to anyone in my circle, my social circle. And that was a huge red flag that I now realize like there was something about this relationship that I didn't realize at the time that I didn't want people to know about. And I held on to that feeling throughout the whole time that we were together. He never met anyone that I knew. And there was just this sense of like shame and guilt that I felt within myself. Like, this is what I'm actually going through. This is my reality. I don't want to put that out there for the world to see. It's embarrassing, you know? And this is the third serious relationship that I've had in my adult life. And I felt this sense of like, here we go again, another failed relationship, you know? So there was definitely a lot of that it wasn't until my life was almost taken from me that I did decide to start speaking out, but it took for me to almost lose my life to start the conversation around what I went through.
That's so real. That's so real. Why
Yeah.
do you think women do that? That we keep protecting. I mean, you could say we protect the men, we
Yeah.
protect the abuser, even if you were even children protect their parents. We
Yeah.
protect, right? Until it becomes so bad that we almost have to lose our life. I mean, I'm sorry that all of these things happen to you. And I also feel that this will never happen to you again.
Absolutely. I've definitely learned a lot going through this experience. But to answer the question as to why, I truly believe, you know, so many people think it's so simple if you haven't been in this type of relationship, like just leave. If it's really that bad, just leave. But there's so many layers when it comes to being in toxic and abusive relationships, like in the sense with Cassie and Diddy. Being with this man of such high caliber, status, money, control, power, you feel powerless. You feel like you can't, in a sense. Financial abuse is something that 99% of domestic violence victims deal with. And that's not talked about enough. So if you don't have the funds or the resources to leave, what the hell are you supposed to do? If you don't have a support system, a lot of times these abusers isolate you so you don't have anyone else to lean on. Where are you supposed to go? And even on top of that, too, like there's this emotional bond that you have with this person. In the beginning of the relationship that I had with my ex, it was beautiful. I felt like I found my Prince Charming. I felt like finally I found the one, and it was beautiful in the beginning. It's always like that in the beginning. 9 times out of 10, they don't just immediately start to, you know, put their hands on you or call you out of your name. It's very slow and calculated when it comes to taking that control over you. And you formed this bond with this person. You fell in love with this person. You talked about the future, talked about having kids and marriage and all of these things that you've been wanting forever. And then it's taken away from you. And you're starting to think like, what, maybe we can go back to what it used to be. And you try to fix this person. You try to change yourself for this person. And it's not easy. You know, when the reality that you created in your head is not the reality that's going on in real life.
Yeah. It's so interesting. You give yourself fully over to the relationship, and then
Yeah.
you find that you have to claim yourself fully back and fight for yourself.
Mm.
Totally. And then even, in with Cassie, the fact that she was so young and was really, being sold the dream.
Yeah.
And probably even like if you say anything to anybody, I will kill them, I will do
Yep.
this, I will do that. Who knows what was said? Who knows
Exactly.
what all the things were? But going back to you, like when was it like the first time where that first time happened? Because
Mhm.
everything was beautiful, and then all of a sudden something happened.
Yeah. There was a lot of cheating in this relationship, which is something that I don't think a lot of us realize is abusive. It's a
Mhm.
form of emotional abuse. That's really how it started. I went through his phone a few times and I found a really horrible things that someone who's in a relationship shouldn't be doing. And when I called him out on that,
Oh,
that's when it got physical. Like, you're invading my privacy. Who are you to, call me out on the things that I'm trying to hide? and then you're going to find it. That's the first time that it got physically abusive, to the point that he squeezed my face so hard that I couldn't brush my teeth for the next few days. That's how bad it was. And every single time it got physical, it got worse, until the point where, like I said before, he almost took my life.
Gosh, that's so scary. That's so
Yeah.
frightening. Yeah. So you were calling him out. You saw something going on, the cheating,
Yeah.
and you spoke about it. And now, all the beauty and everything that was the lie that was happening in the relationship, because it couldn't be sustained. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't real, because there was something else going on over here.
Yep.
Knows whatever else. So then when you spoke about it, you were basically, calling him.
Reprimanded.
Yeah. And
Yep.
like, who are you to call it out?
Yeah.
This made me think about, like, like for me, it's like when I was growing up, I experienced my mother having relationships with boyfriends where they were being abusive. And as a kid, I said to myself, I will never let that happen to me. And it never did. I never allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
But even yet still, even today, like one of my strong values is that if I see anything happening in my sphere of influence, like in my community where I am, if I see something happening to women, children, or animals, I'm going to speak out. I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. I'm not going to not say something, right? So there was a time, this was a few years back, I was at Walmart and I was coming out of Walmart and I looked across the street and there was the bus stop there. And I saw this big, huge guy standing over there doing this to a woman, right?
Yeah.
And I'm coming out and I see that happening. Cars were all driving by or whatever. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this guy, is he going to hit her? What is he going to do? And I thought, wow, what am I going to do? Right. But I could just get in my car and drive away and pretend like I didn't see it. Then I wouldn't be authentically true to my values.
Yeah.
So then I took my purse, I put it in the trunk, and my car is now clean. And then the idea was to drive up to the bus station, which is what I did. I rolled my window down and I looked at the lady that was sitting there and I said, excuse me, do you need a ride? And would you believe she looked at me and she said, mind your own effing business.
Yep.
Okay. Oh my God. Can you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was something going on between that relationship that's how they do it. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
But I felt good that I honored my values.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing to remember, right? Especially when it comes to like outsiders, looking in, especially if you know someone who's in this type of relationship. At the end of the day, the only person who can make any sort of change happen is the person who's experiencing it. It's important for them, outsiders, to be supportive and not judgmental and, lend out a helping hand if and when that person is ready. But at the end of the day, you can't make someone do something that they're not ready to do themselves. And that can just apply to all aspects of life, right? Not just, being in an abusive relationship, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword too, because you want to protect yourself at the same time. God forbid this person who's being the perpetrator comes after you and redirects his anger towards you. And then you're put in a situation that you didn't even call to be in, right? But I do commend you for speaking up and for saying, at least I'm valuing myself, and whatever happens from this point forward, there's no responsibility that I feel,
When she said, mind your own effing business, that was clear. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm done. I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I left, but I felt good because, like I said, if I see it, I can't do anything about what's happening around the world or any of these things. There's nothing I can do anything about. But if it's happening within my sphere of influence, if I see domestic violence going on or anything like that, then if I'm there, then I will try to speak up. I will say something, because I would want someone to do that for me.
Yeah, ditto, same.
So that's where it is. But, again, it could have gone, the guy could have gone really pissed off and tried to jump me or whatever.
Yeah.
I was in the car and I felt like
Yeah.
I was protected and I was good. And not only that, but I felt like I was following my intuitive guidance. My spiritual guidance would have said, don't do that. Intuitive,
Hmm.
no, don't go there or don't do that. So I felt good about what I did. Now,
Yeah.
so are you now offering coaching for people that are in those kinds of situations?
Yes.
How does
Yes.
that look?
Yeah, so I actually just finished putting together a workbook that's dedicated to learning how to heal and overcome from toxic and abusive relationships. And that's going to coincide with my coaching. Haven't launched it yet, but it's definitely something that I plan to have out there. I've gone through this experience. I've been able to learn so much about myself through my pain. And now I want to give back to the world. And that's why I have my podcast too, for people to hear stories of other people who have, been able to turn their pain into their power, and just know that when you come together as a collective and you share your truth, there's so much healing that can happen from that. So let me be the motivation for you to one day find your own voice as well.
Yeah. And that basically you're not alone and you don't have to feel like you're trapped.
Yeah.
Even if, even if you can't do anything about it right away, but having some other place to speak to something, behind the scenes going on, like a strategy move, like, okay, consulting on a chess move or
Right.
whatever that, hey, you're in a bad situation and you need support and somebody to give you the courage. Do you think that what Cassie did was filing that lawsuit and what
Oh
she did?
man. She opened up the floodgates. This is, like she said in the post that she put up recently, thanking people for the support. This is only the beginning. And I am so proud of her for finding the strength within herself to fight back from, especially someone of his caliber. This is going to pave the way for so many to come forward. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like she said, her healing is going to take a lifetime. That
Yes.
that's what it is. I mean, such a brave and beautiful woman. Nobody
Yes.
nobody deserves that. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming on the show. What is the last thing that you want to say to our audience, Leanne, about this topic?
Speak up, use your voice. If you have that feeling that you're in this type of relationship and you want to get out, lean on your support system. I told one of my best friends what happened that night, and it's because of her that I called 911, and he's now in prison for what he did to me. That happened because I decided to take back my power, use my voice, and tell someone what was going on. So use your voice. There's people out there who are willing to help you, but you have to make the decision that enough is enough. I'm not going to take this anymore. So, one step at a time, but definitely fight back and use your voice.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you
Thank
did.
you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Definitely will be in contact with you to have a longer discussion.
Yes.
Everyone, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I just want to say, earlier we had someone here from Greece. Now we have someone here from Australia. I just think it's fabulous how this works out. V Sodal is here, and she's in Australia right now. She is a dynamic professional with a background in exercise science, information technology, and digital marketing. With over 7 years of hands-on experience, V has earned a reputation for her skills in website optimization and sales automation strategies. Before delving into digital marketing, V spent 3 years in the online health coaching industry. This was where she found her true strength in crafting high-converting websites and implementing automated and streamlined sales processes. Since then, she decided to pivot and start her business, VRS and Co. to help businesses scale their sales online. V's approach isn't just about increasing sales figures. It's also about fostering meaningful connections with clients and driving business growth. Let V take care of the techie stuff so that you can focus on more clients. Welcome to the show today, V.
Thank you so much, Cornelia. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So awesome. So you were in the health coaching industry, and you got burned out. And even though it was, something you were passionate about, you were just burned out about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just kept doing, I kind of went into that hustle mentality where the more you do, the better outcomes you get. And, working 24 hours, always on my phones. And so I kind of thought the more I worked, the harder I worked, the more outcomes I get. But then I realized that I just kept burning myself to the ground and getting less outcomes, more exhaustion, more tired, and kind of started feeling a bit, resentful towards my business. Yeah.
Right. So then you're like, no, this isn't feeling loving and nurturing. This is not how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
And so then you were already an entrepreneur, and obviously being an entrepreneur, even in the health coaching business, you already had to know about website a little bit. Because you had to put a website together. You had to do certain
Yes.
things in order to market and promote yourself, right? So how did you were good in the techie stuff with the techie stuff?
Yeah, I've always been good in the techie stuff. Ever since growing up, I've always kind of had an interest for websites and designs and media. And so I kind of played around with that, dibble-daddle with all that stuff when I was growing up. And then so when I came to doing my health coaching business, it's all sort of fell together. I started doing websites. I started streamlining my systems, started creating like landing pages and graphics where it was really engaging. And so I loved doing that part. I really enjoyed it. And one of the comments that one of the coaches that I worked with said to me was, wow, all your stuff is really visually appealing. And so for me, it was just having fun and using my creative side. But then I just realized along the way that I could probably tap into this space a little bit more. And then when I was growing my health coaching business, I met other business owners wanting to improve their health. But then one time I was talking to them about, losing weight, being healthier, but then I actually sold them into my own health coaching, no, not health coaching, digital marketing course, which I didn't even have existed. And so that kind of sparked my interest to say, you know what, I've got this other calling, this other path that I really want to tap into. But it actually took me a few years to actually fully embrace this new calling, if you want to call it that, and really tap into it and announce to the world that I'm doing a new thing.
Yeah, good for you. Congratulations. Well, so now with what it is that you're doing, give us a little bit of an idea breakdown. A lot of entrepreneurs listen to these podcasts here. What is it that you're offering now? So let's just say someone wanted to, contact you. What is it that you can do and that you can offer them?
So basically, I do done for you systems of online sales. So basically, if you want to get your sales done, automated and streamlined, I'm your go-to person. There's two different streams that I offer. The first one is all the techie stuff, getting all that tech streamlined from when a client clicks onto your free offer all the way through to actually converting the sales, nurturing your leads. It's all done for you, right? Part two is actually the sales coaching side. So, for service business out there, it's really tricky. Sometimes you get on a call and it's scary, or there's blocks around money and things. So I actually coach you or entrepreneurs through that to make it actually fun. Sales is fun. Sales is exciting. It doesn't have to be daunting. It's one of those things that will escalate your business multifolds. So why not have fun doing it?
Yeah. So I love that, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they think that by them, they think, I don't want to do sales. I don't want to do sales. I don't want to do sales. Well, you're the CEO. I don't know of anyone else that's going to be doing the sales, selling your product as well as you would be. So it's absolutely essential that you would know or feel comfortable about offering your product, because when you know that the people, what the outcome, the results is going to be for the people that are purchasing your product, and how they're going to be missing out if you don't sell it to them, right? If you don't sell it to them, then
Completely agree. It's a value. It's like you're giving them something special, an exchange in value rather than an exchange in money slash features and products. It's something that's going to help them. And I think that's everyone's got something that they can offer the world, and money is just a simple exchange to give them that benefit, that bang. So I really just want to emphasize that message. Sales can be fun. It's a value exchange and everyone's doing it without even realizing it.
Yeah, and I think that the more appointments people have on their calendar that are sales oriented, like meeting, I'm talking to this person about it, I'm talking to this person, the more they have, the better they're going to feel about the income that's coming in, right? So
absolutely. More appointments means more money.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so I guess it's just pulling all that together, and with the system in the back end, the nurturing sequence, every appointment should be qualified, should be hot, ready to buy from you. You can have an appointment full, but not the right clients, or they're not ready to buy. But with these systems that we can do and have in place, then we can just make it very easy, make them hot, make them ready to buy from you. And that's what also makes sales fun as well.
Yeah, that's so great. One other thing. So when you're so are you still doing landing pages as well? Are you still doing like if someone wanted to do a digital course, for example, do you help them set that up as well, or?
Absolutely. Coaches, programs, products, landing page, email sequence and nurture, and like the calendar bookings and the CRM, so the customer relationship management system in the back end as well, the whole end-to-end pipeline.
Good. Let's tell the audience where they can find you, where they can look you up.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is www.vrsandco.com.au. And if you want to actually join the waitlist, I've got an e-sales school where I actually teach all this landing page, how to build everything, just that goes for 4 weeks. So please feel free to drop it in the waiting list so you can learn how to do it all yourself as well. So I've also sent the link to you as well.
Oh, good. Well, I think it's great that you're doing this. It sounds like you found it's nice to be able to say, okay, I did this for a while and I burned myself out and it wasn't really the direction. And now you pivoted and you change and you're doing something where you're more aligned, where you're feeling better about it. And so what does your day look like today?
Well, lucky day. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So look, just a couple of finished client calls here and there. And then towards the end, I'll just relax, chill. I've got a bubby. So, enjoy some time with him and my husband.
Oh, good. Well, happy birthday. So, enjoy your day. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Kornelia. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. We're gonna close the show today. So thank you everybody for listening and tuning in to today's show. And I'm wishing you all a wonderful weekend, everyone. Take good care and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.